Have you been shopping for makeup all wrong? I don't know. That's what today's video is about though. Hello and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm doing another kind of talky little opinion piece about shopping for makeup in a world where there are so many makeup brands now. It's hard to keep your head straight. I have my beautiful notes here on my phone this week. I didn't want to print it out. I've kind of constructed my list here to make sense as the video goes on. The beginning of this video will make sense as everything kind of adds on to one another. Every one of these thoughts is always put into one product, not over a collection or anything. I think of all these things when it comes to one product of makeup. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I just bought new makeup and I wanted to discuss why and also how, but in the sense of in my mind brain. And I want to put what's in my mind brain into a video so it's easier for you guys to understand what I'm looking for and shopping for in makeup. Now, this is just a makeup video. It's not really a skincare video because I find for skincare, a lot of these things don't really apply. I have a lot of new subscribers here, but if you have started to peruse my other content, you may hear me say, especially in new makeup releases, that everything is good now, so does it really matter? I am a firm believer that everything in makeup is good now. Drugstore is good now, the dollar store is good now, high-end brands are good now. When I entered wearing makeup in 2015, my shopping habits have completely changed. Right off the bat is my brand no-goes. There are lots of brands that are locked away in my head that I do not shop at and I do not purchase from just because of the amount of scandals, marketing choices that I don't agree with. So there's a lot of reasons I don't shop for brands. If you watch my new makeup releases, in the beginning, I always disclose I don't talk about everything because not everything is worth being talked about. And if I don't talk about a certain brand, it's probably because I don't like them. Just saying, that's my little hint in new makeup releases that I don't talk about every single brand because I don't like them, straight up. And that list is kind of like forever growing, changing. Everyone's on my mind all the time. So besides the no-go list, for brands that I do like and I do look into, what do I look for? Color availability. Whether it is my shade or not, I do look into what the shades are that are available and I do purchase that way. That's more for foundation lines and making sure foundations are for everyone. Gotta love that. When it comes to things that are more like blushy, contoury, bronzery, more of the complexion and color side, if it's a basic color, I tend to not be interested, especially in higher end brands now. When you peruse a page like Trend Mood 1 and everyone keeps coming out with the same shades, it's like everyone is using the same labs and they're just using the exact same measurements and they're getting the exact same colors. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to color availability. Give me something interesting. I don't need 17 mauve blushes of the exact same shade of mauve. That's not necessary in the beauty world, which is especially why I have started to dabble into independent Chinese. I don't have any Korean yet. Kind of like blushing and contouring products because their market is a lot more interesting. The availability for all skin tones definitely ranges based on the brands, but I think the more successful brands are the ones that are going to be leaning into the Western market. Now, if a brand has basic mauvey colors available, for that, if I can only find the basic shade variants, then I look into texture. I look into texture and finishes because everyone can do the color. Like I said at the beginning, everything is good now. So what you have to look for is the texture and finish of a product. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really pay attention to when they're shopping for makeup anymore. It's more about what's the most viral. But if you don't physically like the feeling of the product, there's no point in buying it and you're wasting your money. Very quickly, also, be wary of your money. You don't need to buy every single thing. Please have a budget. I've been there, done that, buying every single product. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time, and you'll end up feeling bad in 6 months when you look at a completely full product that you don't care about. I hope that goes without saying, but I'm just saying it very quickly. To go with the texture and finish, seeing it in person. I have a somewhat hard rule that I must see the product, feel the product, look at the product in person to see if I like it. And as a creator, it can ruin the vibe of a first impression a lot when I do that. But I think actually knowing that you're going to like the product is better than spending a lot of money on something and you don't end up liking it. I use a lot of MAC Cosmetics products. I say all the time in my videos to go in person for MAC makeup. I find their colors can be different depending on the product than their photography online. So I always in my MAC videos say to go in person to your nearest MAC counter to make sure you like the product, you like the texture, the feeling of it, because this price point and higher, I'm not playing games when it comes to that stuff. You are buying this after seeing it in person because you might not like it. Now I know that's not obviously possible for a lot of people, but if you are in North America, you can now go into a Sephora and find something ideally in the same collection, maybe not the color, and then you can judge the texture of it to see if you'll even like the texture. I also have a hard rule when it comes to seeing products in person for foundation. Complexion, because my complexion is so hard to color match, I very rarely blind buy a complexion product. I have to see a product in person because if it is way too saturated, it won't work for my skin. Hello, it's Editing Claire again in this video. I just remembered that in the US and the UK, maybe Australia, you guys have TikTok Shop. We don't have TikTok Shop in Canada, but I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it for shopping for anything. I feel like that is a very slippery slope to not knowing what you're spending your money on, and not even knowing if the makeup you're receiving is legit or not would also be a concern for me. So any of those like in-app shopping experiences, I would never use. In Canada, especially, online only is a very big thing for beauty products here. For example, the About Face foundation is online only. Indie brands are online only, but then that comes to your best guess of you're looking at a product that's online only. Do you think you really, really need this product? Is it really going to fix or fit nicely into what you require, or maybe what you think that you're missing? Again, I'm going to hold these up as an example. I bought this product when it came out because it was limited edition and it was Charlotte Tilbury, so I expected it to sell out super fast. So I bought this when it was released this time last year. I think this was already released, because I knew it was limited edition. But the exact opposite happened with this Blend Bunny palette, which I did not buy from Blend Bunny. I bought this from Backstage. If you're in Canada, Backstage is the authorized seller for Blend Bunny. So I think there's one other brand, but Backstage is where I bought it. No duties or surprises buying it from Backstage. But this palette I bought last week, but this came out in September, and I waited because I wanted to see if I actually really, really wanted this palette or if it was just the hype that made me want this palette. And over all these months, I kept thinking about this palette. I knew it had a lot of shades that I don't have in my collection. I eventually bought it, but that's my judgment. I know myself. I know what I have. So in my life, these palettes did fill a void. We are now leading into no rush buying, again, with a little asterisk. So you know yourself best. I knew I needed this. I had no blue eyeshadow like this in my palette area. So I bought that palette in a rush, but I knew this was filling a void that I had. All of these other palettes that I have, I do not buy in a rush. I will let things go out of stock and I will risk not being able to buy it again if it means that I'm saving $70 to $80, you know? There's pros and cons to that because limited edition products are very much a thing for makeup. So you really have to have your best judgment, again, much like seeing something in person. Will it fill a void? Do you really need it or do you want it? Two different things. And if something is online only, like buying from Backstage Cosmetics, things that I take into consideration for shopping online is shipping. Do I want enough from the site right now making my purchase to receive free shipping? If it's for a brand that I only want one thing, chances are I will not buy anything to receive free shipping. Paying for shipping in Canada is very expensive, so hitting that free shipping landmark is kind of the best way to get the bang for your buck when it comes to beauty products here. And that's even for living in the city in Toronto. Like, I don't even know what shipping would be like if you lived in Sudbury or something. You can let me know. Hey Sudbury, shout out Sudbury. Let's go get some nickel. Well, Canadian history for you. So if I do hit shipping, I look at duties. I always go to the FAQ. All Canadians will know what this is. You go to the FAQ, you go to shipping, and you look to see if the brand covers the cost of duties upon checkout, or if they say it's up to you to pay for any taxes and duties upon delivery. If I see taxes and duties upon delivery, no go, no purchase. I have gotten got with makeup once when I was starting my makeup journey back in 2015 from a brand I no longer support. It cost twice the amount of my actual purchase to pay the duties. So I paid 3 times the price for the makeup products. Post-COVID, fashion-wise, I purchased from Selkie. I got a skirt from Selkie and I made a mistake and I didn't look at the shipping and it said taxes and duties due upon delivery, and it cost the same amount of money in taxes and duties for that stupid skirt. Oh, it's a reality that you really, really have to look at. And it's a hard no. It really is a hard no. If taxes and duties are due upon delivery, that question mark of you might get taxes and duties, you might not, to me is not worth it. It's not worth the ding dong or getting the email and having to pay a lot more money than you originally thought. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth it. Which is why I bought the Blend Bunny from Backstage Cosmetics, so you don't get that taxes and duties. If you buy from the Blend Bunny website, they say taxes and duties due upon delivery, and they actually say if you don't live in the US, use one of their distributors, and then they have like the authorized retailers for it. But when it comes to shopping for eyeshadow, I have a 50% eyeshadow palette rule. I have to like 50% of the colors in an eyeshadow palette to be able to buy it for myself. Depending on your situation, if you have like way too many eyeshadow palettes, maybe the 50% should be more like 80% or 100% to really help restrain you. If that's something that you really like buying, maybe increase that percentage. I can say that for this one, I wanted 100%. I wanted all of these colors. This was a major yes to get. And this blend bunny was 50% on the dot because I'm not interested in like the orange and greens here. But like this section, this top row did hit 50%. So I did get it, but I definitely had that 50% palette rule for buying the rotten eyeshadow because I knew I didn't like every single color or need every single color, because specific colors like white and black are always used to really fill in an eye palette. So you end up with like a lot of black and a lot of white in eyeshadow that maybe you don't use. So you have to pay attention to those things when you're buying eyeshadows specifically. This is my only complexion palette because I have learned with time not to buy complexion palettes. If you're just doing makeup on yourself, you don't need a complexion palette with 12 different bronzer contours in it. Not every single color is going to work for you. I've been there, done that. I had that mistake with the KVD Shade and Light palette. I've been there. Also, the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter palette. That one too, made a grave mistake on that one when I was younger. But just also know that that 50% palette rule applies to all palettes. You have to like or know that you'll use 50%, but for me, for complexion, it's more like 100%. I have to know that I will be using every shade because I'm not a makeup artist. I have to know that for my skin tone, I can use everything. If I can't use everything, I don't get it. Something that might be helpful for you, not necessarily me, is looking up TikTok swatches. I'm only adding this in because over on TikTok specifically, I do get people who comment that they like that I do swatching for shades and shade comparisons. So that might be helpful for you to find someone who has the same skin tone as you to be able to see what the color will look like without actually having to spend the money on the product. It's not something that I do personally, but I know that it is helpful, so that's something to consider. You can try on YouTube, you can try on Instagram Reels as well. I know for myself, I recycle my content for the people who don't have TikTok to be able to see those kinds of swatchy comparison things. So it might be here on YouTube to be able to quickly look something up. Something else I do preach quite a lot, I think all my videos pretty much, is I very rarely buy things full price. I wait for sales, I wait for like point bonuses with PC points. I very rarely do I buy makeup full price. And I'm not talking about the Sephora sale. The Sephora sale is garbage compared to brand sites and other types of sales throughout the year. The best sale for makeup is always Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Not that that really matters anymore because brands seem to do a whole month of 40% off. But keep your eyes open on anything that you're interested in because a product being on sale is a lot better than a product being full price. Or looking for discount codes, stuff like that can be helpful. I personally look for discount codes on the brand site because I found that those like discount plugins never worked anyways. So I removed them all and I have much more luck just looking for the codes myself. Backstage order was full price, but even my C Beauty order that I got last year, I got a 18% discount on that, which is quite low, but at least it's something. The reason I use a lot of MAC is because MAC is constantly doing sales throughout the year. Sometimes it's just for lips, sometimes it's just for face. It's one of those brands that does these consistent sales throughout the year that I can rely on throughout the year for repurchasing things like Fix Plus. I'm cutting in again for editing. So when it comes to any sale that is this buy more, save more type of event, it is in your best interest to only shop at the price limit. So if I want $20 off, I only get $80, trying to aim for that $80 mark. If I want the $30 off, I'm aiming for that $100 mark. If I want $50 off, I'm aiming for that $150 mark. If you go past that dollar mark, your sale percent drops. So if I'm able to purchase an exact $80 purchase from MAC and I get $20 off, it's 25% off of my purchase. And the top two are very close in percent off. 30 for 100. Is it 30? Yeah, the 30 for 100 is exactly 30% off, and the 50 for 150 is like 33.333333 to infinity. It's important for you to stick to that dollar maximum, because if you go over, that 30% off drops and it will be less and less and less and less. So when I shop these more for more sales, I am only shopping for that cap, basically, is what it is. Shop to the cap. Don't go spending $200 on this sale, because the sale price won't be as good. When you see something like this more for more type of sale, makeup, furniture, hair care, whatever you're purchasing, you have to shop at the cap to get the sale amount. Now, if all of those things that I just talked about are being met when you are looking for a product or a new product, the last thing I pay attention to is packaging, actually. I am a packaging person. I care about packaging. I like it to look nice and feel nice in my hands. Overall, I like a very simple packaging. Sleek, simple, preferably black, easy to use, easy to read. I don't necessarily mind if like writing or something wears off. As long as I've been using it for a long time, I don't mind. I love glass, prefer glass actually, but it's not really easy to do glass. I also prefer when palettes have a clear top, because I can see the colors and I remember the colors. If it's just a solid top like this, I tend to forget about it. I really don't like when palettes are super busy on top like this. Having one or two palettes won't be the end of the world for me, but if you are really into indie brands, or if you're an indie brand watching this, too much going on with your designs, it almost turns into camouflage, especially if you store your palettes just flat like the way I do, and you have all of these designs kind of jumbled on top of each other. It can become very dizzying and just turns into garbledy-gook, honestly. Like it really just turns into nothing, and then you don't really remember anything. And the other thing I pay attention to is the base color. I prefer having a plain background to the eyeshadow. I just want it to be black or white or chrome, just one color. I don't want a palette design to be mirrored or continued in this section, because I need my eye to just see the color that I'm about to pick. That takes out a lot of indie brands, because a lot of them do these super crazy interiors, and I don't like that. And that actually saves me a lot of money to have that as a preference for packaging, because I know myself, and I know after 10 years of consuming makeup, I know I won't reach for a palette that has just this camouflage effect. I think everyone prefers this, but an easy open. I like when something is easy to open. I don't necessarily use or keep around products that I find hard to open. Yeah, I don't think I have anything right now. Yeah, I don't really have a good example, but I think that's something that we all like and appreciate, is a makeup product that can be opened is nice. No difficulty opening things, please. I don't need that. This is something I talk about a lot when it comes to lip products that a lot of people forget is very important. Smell. When it comes to MAC, I like the smell of MAC, but if I'm buying a new brand or new product, I will contemplate what the smell could be if I can't find it in person. And usually that just means buying one color, seeing if I like it, then I'll buy more. And that's a good rule to have if you are sensitive to smells, like I can be sometimes. For drugstore especially, this is the Rimmel lipstick. I hate the smell of this. I can probably say I'll never use it again because the smell is just so awful on these. But that's important to think about, and I am only human. I do forget the smell rule sometimes when it comes to buying new products, and Like this Rimmel, sometimes I mess up and I'm now having to deal with the consequences of buying a stinky product. Not that I could have tested it anyways because it's drugstore, but the smell, remembering smell is very important. And same thing with thinking of products that you once loved that maybe you want to try again, remembering that maybe they had a smell and you're older now, maybe you don't want to try it again. As an example, I have Too Faced because I remember Too Faced always had those like peachy, chocolatey smelling products and I hated it then, so why would I want to buy anything Too Faced now? It's something important to think about. I hope that this video made sense. All of these little rules that I have for makeup shopping is how I can control my own shopping habits, how I can follow along with my own makeup budget, really holding myself accountable to these rules as well, reminding myself that, you know, hey, you don't like 50% of that eyeshadow palette, you can't get it. This is just the way that I really navigate the makeup world now because there's so many brands and there's so many new releases that you really do have to sit down and think about, what do I need to be checked off of a list in order to buy these new products? And maybe I brought up a few bullet points that maybe you hadn't really thought of yet when it comes to purchasing makeup. So if you like this video, please give it a like. If you liked me, thank you so much. You should consider subscribing so I can pop up in your feed more often. Everything on my face will be listed in the description box down below as always. I am also on Instagram and TikTok. Both are Claire Cuckoo as well. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.